Hi, my name is Doan. I'm a licensed professional engineer and I live in Bearsville, New York. I started coming up to this area in 1961, so I'm familiar with driving on Route 28. I'm doing this video to encourage people to sign my petition, which I intend to submit to the New York State Department of Transportation, requesting that safety improvements be made on this section of Route 28 going up to 375, which is about a 6-mile stretch of 28. Route 28 has been a black sheep, or one of the black sheep, of the roads that are in New York. Nothing has been done to improve 28 for the last 30 years. So, I want to take a ride up 28 and point out certain areas of 28 which have definite safety problems. So, let's take a ride. We're exiting the Park and Drive on Washington Avenue right off the Kingston Circle, which gives us access to Route 28 heading west. The first section of Route 28 is a fairly newly designed part that was put in when the bridge over 209 was constructed. In this section of 28, there's a wide grass center barrier or lane that divides the 4 lanes of traffic. Also in this section is drainage, which allows the water to flow off the pavement surface and into drainage structures like catch basins or lawn basins that are in the middle, and divert the water into underground pipes, which gets it away from the road surface. The remainder of 28, the older section, has very little drainage that occurs and removes the water from the surface through drainage structures. There are also traffic lights in this area, so traffic can safely exit across the road and make turns onto 28. Coming up, the grass center island is eliminated and it's replaced by a steel center barrier which runs up 28 for maybe a half a mile or so. It's certainly good because it prevents oncoming traffic from crossing over the center line and causing a head-on collision in this area. From here on in, except for a short distance a little further up, the 4 lanes are undivided. All you have is a double yellow line in the middle, which separates the 4 lanes of traffic. As we proceed up 28, this condition allows people to stop in the fast lane and make a left-hand turn across the 2 oncoming lanes of traffic. What this does, it really promotes rear-end collisions and crashes, which in some cases has been fatal on Route 28. The road surface on a lot of 28 is in poor condition. It's cracked and rutted and really needs to be resurfaced, but also some additional work has to be done to eliminate a lot of the conditions which compromise the safety of the traveling public. This curve right here was very dangerous without the center barrier in there. It was dangerous because people would slide across the road and they'd have head-on collisions in that area there. A sharp turn, like this one right here, also reduces the sight distance, which allows a driver to react to an event that's occurring in front of them. This section of 28 was recently paved a couple months ago, and they put down a 1-inch overlay of asphalt on top of the existing road surface, which was badly compromised because it was all cracked, rutted, patched. Cracks were filled with crack filler. It was really a terrible section of 28, and this certainly improved it. But the problem is that all it has to do is go through a winter, and boom, the cracks that are in the existing asphalt are going to reflect through into the new surface of the asphalt, and you're going to be back to square one. Now, this section of 28, this grade here is an 8% grade, which exceeds the allowable 6% grade, which they allow in a mountain road, which is what 28 is considered. It's a class 3 mountain road. Now, besides having that steep grade there, you have these sharp turns all throughout 28, which certainly reduce the sight distance for drivers. You know, traffic lights are certainly a good way to allow traffic to turn on and off of 28 safely. This turn right here is a dangerous turn because of hydroplaning. People coming around that turn in a heavy rainstorm can hydroplane right out of their lane and hit somebody head on. We're approaching the rail trail, which was recently opened, which allows people to turn left and pull in there. Also, this stretch of 28 has absolutely no drainage control, which means there are no catch basins, there are no drainage structures to facilitate getting the water off of the road and away from the traveling public. This stretch of 28, just prior to 375, has all these small side streets which go up into West Hurley. Every one of them has very limited sight distance and is a dangerous way of getting traffic from in West Hurley there out onto Route 28. We're going to be exiting off of 28 right here and concluding our ride going west on 28. We're going to make a U-turn and head back on the other side of 28 going east. Okay, we're heading east from 375 going back down 28. This stretch of road has numerous small streets on the other side of the road, which has poor sight distance. So pulling off of those streets onto 28 is a definite hazard, safety hazard. And as we move down this grade, which is a 6% grade, which is a maximum grade for a Class 3 mountain road, we're approaching the rail trail, which was recently opened. The rail trail has increased traffic on 28 substantially. And one of the problems, here's the exit right here, is that there are no left-hand turn signs coming out of that driveway. So many people just neglect to follow those signs and make left-hand turns out of the exit. And if they do make a right-hand turn out of that exit, they travel a short distance down the road and then make an illegal U-turn on 28. The road pavement through here is in poor condition. And the reason I say it's in poor condition, when a lot of traffic travels over a section of road, it creates tire ruts in the asphalt. If you were to be out here when it's raining, you'll see that there is water running down the tire ruts that are in the asphalt surface. And if enough water flows down through there, you have the chance of hydroplaning on 28. The road area where the new 1-inch overlay of asphalt was put in, the condition of the surface of that road was 10 times worse than what you see here on this section of 28. It's an improvement, but unfortunately, it's not going to last that long, because once the weather gets cold and the pavement starts to contract, all the cracks that are underneath this pavement are going to reflect through onto the new surface. And then you're going to be back to square one with the condition of the road. '28 needs some major revisions to make it safe. They have to increase the radius of the road so it increases the sight distance for the people driving on it. This is another 6% grade, which is the maximum allowed by state design. '28 has been basically void of any major improvements over the last 30 years. The last time there was a discussion with the state about making 28 safer was in the late 80s and early 90s, where the state wanted to put a center barrier in on 28 and have little turnarounds in sporadically along this section. The problem was the business owners in this area made such a stink about how it would affect their business by not allowing people to make left-hand turns across the road into their parking lot. So, as to concede to the business owners, the state decided to reduce the speed limit on the road from 55 miles per hour down to 45. And like I said earlier, people do 55 miles an hour down through here. And as we come down off of this grade, we start to approach the section that was upgraded and has the grass center barrier in it for safety. So, if the remaining section of 28 looked as good as this section, we'd probably be okay. But it doesn't. And improvements need to be made to reduce the number of accidents that occur on this roadway. And we're approaching the end of 28, which terminates at the Route 28 circle. And this concludes our little trip up Route 28. We're now approaching the Kingston Circle.